Uh, Welcome back. We had a wonderful conversation with Bobby on various aspects related to his last 1 year's journey. Uh, the other interesting thing that we would like to discuss now is what led to those areas of improvement and what where he is at today. Certain aspects like nutrition, strength and conditioning, coaching, and a few other parameters. I would like to spend some time on that, which could be very interesting for all of us.
Absolutely.
So let us talk a little bit about nutrition now. You've been running for close to around 7.5 years. Obviously, in the last 2 or 3 years, you have been really competitive and doing a lot of things in a very intense way. Can you share some thoughts on how nutrition was in the initial few years and how it has changed in the last couple of years, in fact?
Yeah. See, the initial years when I started, so that is when I just started to run, it was always the basics. So nutrition in general was always the same, home food. During the runs, I would have some sort of a glucose, anisole. I would have. And that's what continued for quite some years. For the almost initial 2-3 years, nutrition was like that. At home, being more conscious about the proteins that I have, so increased my intake of non-veg. So chicken and fish, which I used to have, I almost doubled it across years, so that I needed more proteins. Not only in non-veg, but also like sprouts, more of leafy. So nutrition was moving towards that side, more with a runner's angle point of view. 2000, so then, past I would say 2-3 years being, as the training gets more and more intense, you really need to have something, far more better. So I really used to consult, various people, what should I have? So some would say supplements. Again, supplements, usually there's a debate whether it is fine to have supplements, can you have it natural? So there were a lot of these discussions which I went through, and then so there were small changes which I did, again more towards the natural side. So I would be more conscious on what kind of nutrients I'm eating, so how much of egg, how much of morning, how much of the various nuts that you have, the fruits, the juices which I drink, the vegetables that I eat, the non-veg. So it was getting more and more focused towards those side. So again 2 years, I would say. Then I had this association with Fast&Up. Then initially it took me some time to start. So I remember when you had given me, the initial 1-2 months, it took me some time to, to get to it. But when I started looking at it, I felt that this was really working well with my kind of intense strengthening workouts which I was doing. I had a couple of situations where I'm doing my strengthening workouts, and at the end of it, I'm so exhausted that I either fall sick or I have motion problems. I actually went to the doctor. I spoke to the doctor saying that this is what happens at just when I'm finishing my workout itself, I'm feeling in my body that there's something going wrong. And when a doctor said that it's because you have lost your the energy source, so you really need to have, you either need to have some glucose or something which will take care of it. So it really worked brilliant. So then I started consuming this, the recover, charge, all of that I started consuming. And then what has happened is, at the end of a workout, when I know I have done an intense workout, previously when I used to fall sick or I used to have some issues, at least since then I have never ever had that situation, that my body has lost the reserve of energy. So I still feel good.
So in a way, you have been pretty open to various suggestions, including from the nutrition aspect, and have made changes along the way.
Yeah.
Uh, One more interesting thing that I would want a lot of people to know is that you in fact started using gels only from 2015, which is very late in every sense. So how has been the journey with a thing as simple as energy gels?
So again, giving it background, whenever I used to run my full marathons, at the end of I always finish a marathon literally, very weak. So I'm not even when I finish a marathon, I'm not even in a position to stand straight. I've really exhausted all the energy which I have. So, past 3 years, that is 12, 13, 14, I think 13, 14, 15, when I did it, all the 3 times I finished in a medical tent. I finished. So I have always had my friends having gels. So I wasn't sure should I be entering into it. So 2015, I had done the California Big Sur. I had one of my friend who had given me gels. I just carried it with me. I had 2 of it, which was fine. Then in TCS 10K, again one of my friend gave me a gel. Gave me 2 gels. Said you have this before and during, which I consciously decided, okay, I will try it. So I had a gel, before the run, and it actually made a big difference for me. I mean, I know, in comparison to how I've trained, I know that I really finished. I did a very strong run, and I finished strong. End of the race, I felt myself strong. So the gel gives you that concentrated sugar, which makes, which is like a pump of energy into you. So it worked good. And
so
yeah.
Is there a message that you would like to give to people on the nutrition front? Because running, training, there are a lot of things that people do rightly. People put in those 3-4 hours of training. But nutrition is a subject where there seems to be not much of openness. So is there something that you would like to tell?
I mean, I would still keep it open, to be frank. I would still keep it open. Gels for sure works. I mean, for a lot of people it works. For some of them, they have some constraints. Some do not want to enter into having gels because they love to have it in the natural form. So, it's really left for the individuals. How do they want to take this up? If you would like to have a stronger run, you could do it. If that is not what your priority is, then you don't need to have. Gel for sure is not like a supplement. It is not something which will take care of your health. It is for a race. A gel is very clearly for a race. Unlike, if you have a protein supplement, it is, you're doing it for your body. So gel is only for an event or for a training run. You have a gel which will help you with your source of energy. So so keep it open still, how a runner wants to do it.
So let's go on to another interesting topic where you have really put in a lot of effort in the last 1.5 years, which is on the strengthening and conditioning aspect. That is one area where a lot of people don't really put in those hours which is required. How have things panned out for you from this aspect in the last 1 year?
Very good question. In fact, when I started running, I started with the help through the Nike Run Club, and Nike Run Club had a structured format of training. So you do your warm-up run, you do your warm-up drills, then you do your training run, and post the training run, you do your cool down, then you do some strengthening and some stretching. So I started my running journey in the correct method. So that's where I have always been improving year on year because I was doing the correct method of training. What has happened is, it worked perfect the initial 1-2 years, and then I started, getting slowly started getting injured. So I had the Achilles tendinitis, I had slight plantar, I had a bit of hamstring issues, then heel pains, then glutes, hip flexors. There were challenges which I was facing. Is when I realized that I am no longer as strong as I am supposed to be for the kind of intense training I am doing. So in that year 2015 is where, after a couple of discussions with few physios and few of my friends, I realized that I need to strengthen up my body. I need to focus a lot more in strengthening up my body. Also, one challenge which I had taken is I wanted to do a full marathon event without a shirt. So that was also one intense. So I had, I had a tummy which I really wanted to ensure that it goes off so that I run a bit decent for the run. So so all of this put in together.
Was that the truth about bare-chested?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, so that was also equally a motivation. So one is strengthening as well as, running bare-chested, because I really wanted to do that, and if I wanted to do it in a decent method. It should not be running around with, with a tummy just showing it up. So so all of this put together started off with my strengthening. Started with the strengthening with around 15 minutes. Then gradually progressed from 15 to 20 to 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour, and then included stretching. So one advantage which I had was I was always, always had good people to suggest what needs to be done. So I had my coach who was there, who told me, who has been, I also had seen that in the Nike Run Club. I've seen a lot of YouTube. I had seen other coaches also, doing this strengthening workout. So I put in all of this together. Initially, I could not survive for more than 15 minutes, then build it up gradually, and within a year, I could easily do, up to 1.5 hours. Including strengthening and stretching both put together.
So do you do it every week?
So the way I do it is I run 3 days a week, and 2 days a week I do strengthening, and then 2 days just relax.
Interesting. A related question would be, while your training is going on, the importance that you give to recovery and rest. Most of the people don't realize what a recovery or rest means. What does recovery or rest mean to you?
For me it's very important. I mean, it's as important as a run. Recovery is really as important as a run. So my run has been intense, my workouts are intense. Body cannot cope up with that level of intensity. So it really needs 2 days to really relax and recover well, so that you can either do your next workouts, strengthening workouts better, or your run better. If you do not give that recovery time, you just cannot push. So body really needs recovery. You cannot give a shock to your body that just keep running, keep doing workouts, and do some sort of an injustice to the body. So
in a week, you have 2 days where you have rest or recovery pre-planned. Does it mean that you don't even do any kind of running or jogging or
again, this is left. So some would say recovery can be an easy small 5K jog, which should be good. In my case, I try to give that purely as my own time. So I spend more time with my garden, which I have in the terrace. I like to spend some time with it, or something which I like to do. So that's what recovery would be away from my workout. So I like doing something else, spend the time on that, and or it could also be family time. So Sundays I like to devote time at home with family, because that's the only time you get. So I really feel good, during the recovery days, doing optimally utilizing the time.
So if you look at your journey of running, the last 5 to 7 years. You started through the Nike Run Club, uh, got into a group of runners. But one main point which has been right there throughout is the coach. So how important has the person called coach been in this journey?
Yeah, very important. Yeah, so at least for me, since with the kind of workouts I do, I do not think that I can design my own workouts. So I can be a good coach. I can look at someone and I can coach someone else, but I cannot be my own coach. So I need someone externally to look at me, to recognize me, and tell me what will be good for you. So it's always good to have an external person suggest and guide you, in terms of all aspects, in terms of running, in terms of your strengthening, in terms of also there are a lot of things you can talk with your coach, finding out somewhere you are struggling. So you need someone to guide you on what has to be done. I strongly recommend every person should have a coach. Coach can be a mentor. Yeah, coach doesn't mean a professional coach. It can be a mentor who is a good runner. They can
Somebody
guide
you can talk to.
Yeah.
So in the last 1 year or so, you have also worked on a few aspects like your form of running. That is a specific thing that you have worked on. But my larger question would be, how do you imbibe good practices like form? As you are also consistently improving. How do you look out for good practices? And how do you choose that these practices are probably what you need to concentrate on for the next 6 months or for the next 1 year?
Yeah. One thing is very clearly I want to improve year on year. So now improving cannot happen only by just running more and more. So running more and more, somewhere you would reach a limit. So you need to know what are your weak areas, which areas do you want to strengthen up further. So the year on year there have been areas which I know I focus on something and use that as a method to improve myself. Like for example, 15 was more into strengthening. Last year was quite a lot. I was looking at my form of running because I knew, people in general say, "Wow, you run a perfect one," but I know, that everything is not good. There are lots of areas which I can improve further. Simple things like running, running, in a proper direction, running straight, running with a slight lean. Running easy, relaxed, because I usually am pretty stiff when I run, so trying to relax myself, so all of these factors help in improving your form of running. So last year and again this year will be a lot of focus on my method of running. Yeah, so need to identify what do I need to improve on, really improve on it, and use it as a strength. So.
That's a fantastic way of looking at things. The other thing that I always wanted to ask you was, when you go in for those main races, and even during your training schedules, do you have in mind a certain target time to finish at? And the second question related to that would be, I also think that you like to do negative splits. So how do you do that?
Yeah, so one is training runs for sure. First thing is you need to replicate what you want to do in a race in a training run. So if you want to do a negative split in your training, you need to ensure that you do a negative split, because magic cannot happen in a race. You need to replicate it. So in a training run, for me, a run will be good only if I finish strong. So that is always very strong. So from somewhere I get that energy. To the last 2 kilometers should be my fastest. So that's so that I keep it in mind, and I put it in my training. And same thing I try to replicate it in the race.
So my question was, do you hold back in the first half? Because a lot of times we have seen you really finished strong.
Yeah.
You have really
Yeah.
zoomed past
Yeah.
the last 2 kilometers.
Yeah.
So is it a plan of action or?
Yeah, I mean it is just that I have trained myself. So like for example, in a 10K or in a half, you cannot hold back. You cannot start easy. You have to start very strong because it's just a small distance. So you have to start very strong and continue strong. But even like in a 10K, you run extremely strong 7 kilometers. You still have 3 kilometers. But you have trained your body so well that you have lot more energy. Not that you have energy, but you really need to find that energy. You really, your body knows that your real race is yet to come. Your body knows it, and the real race comes in the last 2 kilometers. So yeah, you have to get that energy from somewhere because it is very clear my run will be good only if my fastest 2 kilometers is the last two ones.
Very few people would
Yeah.
actually replicate that in an
Yeah.
actual race.
Yeah.
But great that you are doing that.
Yeah.
So as we come to the end of this fascinating conversation, the question which many of us would want to know is, we have had a fabulous 2016, we have started off 2017, Mumbai is over. So what next in terms of goals, in terms of where you want to progress?
Yeah, to be frank, 2017, this time I'm not so sure because I really feel I've achieved a lot in 2016. My half marathon ADHM, I did it in 1 hour, 18 minutes and 24 seconds. I really do not think I can go faster than that. SCMM full marathons for sure. I really don't want to go, I don't want to put in aggressive targets. So 10K, yes, I want to improve further. That is clear. Yeah, I really need to build in more confidence within myself that I can improve even further for the half and for the full. So let me do this 10K, which for sure I will improve. I will train very strong for the 10K. Half and full, I'll just take some time to decide, how much further can I push. But right now, I'm in a zone where I'm extremely happy with where I am, what I've achieved. Just be there itself will be superb. I think, being in that 1 hour, 18 minutes for the half will be great. I mean, because I feel I've done far better than what I could. So, and a sub 3 hours in a full would be good. I would love to, do a bit more of the international events. If possible, so that's what I'll keep my eyes open. 18, 19 will be a bit more of international, I will see.
While we end this conversation, would you want to summarize for a newbie or a person who looks up to you on aspects of training, nutrition, strength and conditioning?
Again, one thing which I always keep telling a lot of my friends, a lot of people think that you run to be fit. Yeah, so a lot of people take up running so that they get fit. But my point of view is the other way around. You need to be fit to run strong, to run good. So you need to consider all the aspects. It all comes in a package. You need to run. Start up run, take it easy. It's fun. Do include a bit of fitness into it so that your body is strong enough to do a nice run. So put in a bit of fitness and follow a good nutrition. Nutrition would basically mean you need to ensure that you get your proteins, you get your carbs, you get your fat. It's not very complicated. The terms might look a lot technical, but it's pretty simple. Follow a little bit of a discipline, run a bit, be a fitness and have your proper nutrition. So nothing more I think is required than this.
So we've had some fantastic insights into running, different aspects of running from a very improved runner.
Yeah.
And today a very leading runner, I would say, in the country. Thank you so much for your time. We wish you all the very best for the year of 2017 and also beyond that. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure. Yeah. Thank you so much.